Hi Pisces, welcome to your end of November 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. This is the Moon and Stars Tarot in case you're interested, because I've never used this deck before. So, I'm trying to put these in frame. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to pick an additional card. I got the Ten of Swords, so let's see. All right, we're going to leave it there. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Knight of Swords. Now, in this deck, they say drama, which is, once again, I think it's tricky to try and boil down these cards to single phrases or words because I don't feel like you can. That's not going to cover it. Now, the Knight of Swords can be a person who comes in and out of your life and is a very like outspoken person. They may be militant, you know, they have that rebellious quality to themselves. They may be in the field of teaching or writing, something where they're communicating, and they have a very forceful manner. This could be any of the fire or air signs. And this person, so for the air signs, for Pisces, I would say in particular Gemini, and for the fire signs, Sagittarius, okay? But that's just because they're in the same modality. That's all. And they form a square, which is very irritating, but also very enticing at the same time. There's like a kind of a pull, it's magnetic pull, like physical attraction. Let's put it that way. But when I look at it's funny, in the past position, they have Page of Swords education. And typically with the Page of Swords, I think of more about investigation. Like you have some, like you're dating somebody, you have some suspicions about them because some of the things that they're saying are not adding up. And so you go and you start combing the interwebs and you find out some stuff that is a little bit, maybe shakes you up a little bit, but at least you know. However, if this person really is less than honest, they can probably have like some kind of plausible explanation, even though it could be a lie. So it's still kind of problematic in that sense. Another thing is that this can be about the kind of work that you're doing. So perhaps you have gotten your education, you've gotten some kind of degree, and it doesn't have to be like you just got it last month, but you are putting it to use. And with the Knight of Swords, you're finding that you are becoming very outspoken, like you don't agree with what they want you to propagate to others. Now, is that really drama, or is that having the courage of your convictions? I mean, it's really something to ponder, because so many times people say, oh, you're just full of drama, when all you're doing is telling the truth about a situation. And it's because other people don't want to hear it, that they're going to characterize you that way. And you don't have to allow other people to do that, because you have the right to your opinions. But of course, some people will still find problems with it. So you have to just accept the fact that you're somewhere that maybe is not aligned with your true beliefs. Okay, so the higher message is the Eight of Wands. Now, this card says speed. I would say movement. So things can happen very quickly. If you are in a relationship with somebody and you are not really that sure about their honesty, you might have a protracted period where there's that sense of uncertainty, and then it like all starts to heat up. Even with work matters, there might be a lull in the action and then things come up. But this is a spiritual message, so I'm reading it as more than just like a card of what is to occur. It's more to look at it from, are you prepared? Are you prepared to change your life in the blink of an eye and to accept and to roll with the changes? Because you're going to have a solar eclipse, and I think that might be what this card represents here, okay? The Tower card is the challenge card. Now, the Tower itself is always going to be, now they say transformation. That's a great way of putting it. I approve of this message because a lot of people say, oh, calamity or something like that. And it's about transformation. Ultimately, it's always about transformation. So, but it's in the challenge position. So you might be afraid of something that psychically you can sense, being a naturally intuitive person, you may, sense that something is up, and it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable because you don't quite know what is up. And you're kind of like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And instead, if you say, it doesn't matter, it like literally does not matter what happens because I am centered within myself and I'm all I need. I don't have to worry about, but that's where detachment versus attachment comes in. If you're attached to a certain outcome, then yes, you're going to try to control what happens. And we're in this eclipse cycle, in this eclipse season. And so things can be fast and furious in the next few weeks. And I'm reading this energy for the end of November. And that's when the eclipse in Taurus occurs. In your chart, and of course this is just a general thing, it would be the third house. And because it's in Taurus. So that can be some kind of something coming out that was hidden. You find out something, or it could be like a spiritual download, and even if it's something that is meant to enhance your life and to guide you, it can still be experienced as a tower moment in an unsettling way, because you may feel like what you're being asked to do is something that you don't want to do, or you're resistant to doing. And in December, when you have the solar eclipse in your 10th house of career, same thing. Do you want to be seen? The sun kind of brings things to the surface. But even with success, it might be unsettling for some people. So there's a lot to sort out in the next few weeks with these eclipses. And, we don't know exactly when they will manifest in your life, if you even can trace it to you at all. Sometimes that hasn't always been the case for me either. What's coming in is the Seven of Wands. Now, this deck uses the word resilience. I have never heard that used. I interpret this, or I've read information that suggests this is about standing your ground, and that means that you stand in your power and in who you are. Wands are fire, is fire energy. Fire energy is about the self. And this is especially important for Pisces sun signs. I would say, the rising sign. When you're younger, this can also be an issue for you of a sense of identity, because your ruler is Neptune, and Neptune is about everything merging into one, and is not about the individual identity, especially not in the worldly sense. And so not apologizing for having goals, for having your own dreams that other people may not share. That is so, so important. And especially at this time, because, I didn't think about this. In December, Jupiter, in late December, Jupiter is going to come back into your sign. It was there briefly in 2021. I mean, earlier in 2021. And so this is going to be a great year for you to really enhance yourself. And it could be an inside job. It doesn't have to be anything on the physical level that or in the outer world, but still that sense of believing in yourself, having, positive thoughts about yourself, kind of expanding yourself, getting out of your comfort zone to some degree. So I picked as an outcome card, the Ten of Swords. In this deck, it says conclusions. Well, that's interesting because, as you know, with the Rider-Waite deck, that they show an animal with knives sticking out. Is it an animal? No, a person. I have a deck that shows, I think, an animal. Another deck. But I like that they say conclusions, because this is the number 10 is the end of a cycle. And with swords themselves, there can be this sort of drama, like the Knight of Swords describes. I mean, just there can be a sense of conflict and strife with swords in general. But I find it interesting that the swords are connected to the air element, and therefore to air signs and thoughts and communication. And I am sure that if you have ever listened to Eckhart Tolle, who comes from a Buddhist type of mindset, that thoughts are not something that he holds in high value. And I may be overstepping my interpretation of him, but that's how I see it, is that I think he thinks that thoughts are our enemy more times than they are our friend. And this is simply because people tend to think toxically, and they have these old tapes, they're coming from other people projecting onto them. And with the Ten of Swords, another big theme is betrayal. And sometimes it's funny because it says conclusions here. Sometimes with Pisces, there is the tendency to give people the benefit of the doubt long past what it should be given. You know what I mean? So the point is that if you have some kind of a personal situation going on, and somebody might be gaslighting you, and they're trying to tell you that you're the problem, and maybe you've done your own little detective work, especially if you have the moon in Scorpio, Pisces, or the sun in the 8th house, or something in the 8th house, right? You may have that natural inclination because you know human nature, you know how people operate. Pisces, that's where Pisces differs from Scorpio. It's like Pisces is more than willing to put on the rose-colored glasses or to stick your head in the sand. But sometimes even you will, too much has happened. And I think, with the tower, that could even be, maybe you already caught somebody in a serious lie situation. You still stuck your head in the sand, and something happens by the end of the month, or maybe even going into December, where you realize, no, I have to take this seriously. This is not going to go away. And that's what the Ten of Swords is all about, is realizing that this has happened. And then I picked an additional card. And this really, it's funny that this says obsession, because yes, I mean, sometimes obsession is definitely something that keeps people in a certain holding pattern, if you will. And it can be like, this card is actually, the Devil card is actually connected to addiction. So whether it's addiction to someone emotionally or sexually, whether it's substance abuse that leads to bad judgment, whatever is going on with you or another person, it has to be really looked at. And it could be the other person. And this is what is so perilous, dangerous. Sometimes when you get involved with a narcissist, and as soon as I see the Devil card now, I say narcissist, is that if you don't have high self-esteem and somebody comes at you and maybe they love bomb you, they act like the perfect partner until they hook you in, and then they change and they become totally different from what they were. You see that other side to them. That person cannot be trusted, because you already see that they falsely, they misrepresented themselves. So the problem is, when people are vulnerable, they want to believe what they want to believe. When they don't feel loved and somebody is faking love, they're willing to turn the other way and allow that person to lie to them and to do all these things. But then there might be something that is so heinous that they can't look away. So if there's somebody that is coming in from the past, and we're going to deal with this in late December when we have a Venus retrograde, and even actually the shadow period starts in the last part of November, so that you might even see some of this cropping up now. And then we're going to have a Mercury retrograde in January. So, and it's funny, they're both going to be in Capricorn, and the Devil is connected to Capricorn as, an astrological sign. So, I mean, that's pretty wild, to say the least. So you might feel like, hey, it's the devil I know. But you know what? The devil you know is still a devil, and you know it. Okay, Pisces, that's what I have for you. I hope that you resonated with this. If you would like a private reading, I'm primarily an astrologer. I say that because some people are, they like the tarot, but they really like astrology, and that's my forte, I would say. But I do private tarot readings too. You can find out more about my offerings at rainamoon.astrology.com. The link is below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.